John chapter 2. And when you get there, go to verse number 13, and we will read 13 through 16. The Gospel of John, chapter 2, 13 through 16. Now the Passover of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. And he found in the temple those who sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the money changers doing business. And when he had made a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple with the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money and overturned the tables. And he said to them, to those who sold doves, take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of merchandise. This is the word of the Lord. Amen. You may be seated. If you're taking notes, the message is entitled, Take the Trash Out. Take the trash out. You know, the trash man comes by our house on Tuesday. And, you know, you got the trash barrel, and then there's the recycle. And we also have for the cuts, grass and stuff, the green one. And every Monday night, around 6:30 or so, Karen will say to me, somebody need to make sure that the trash is taken out. Somebody. So I'm looking around for somebody. 'Cause last time I looked, somebody ain't paid no rent if somebody living with me. And I have made boo-boos in the past where she made it very clear. She gave me a good reminder. Somebody need to make sure the trash is out, and I know who somebody is. You looking at him. And so I told her, I said, baby, I'm going to get it. I know it. I know it's no big deal. And lo and behold, I forgot. And she don't like that. Well, I'm glad she ain't at church today. She didn't like that. She didn't like that. So I'm trying. Now you got to go a whole nother week. So I'm out there pushing the trash, trying to compact it. Now I'm a trash compactor. And she don't care. She don't care. That's what you get. She talks to me like that from time to time. And I let her. Then there have been those times when she told me, and I got it. Don't worry about it. I don't know why you keep sweating me about the trash. I got the trash. Then there have been those times when I forgot, but I'm up. I'm maybe downstairs, studying quiet, and it's quiet, and I hear the truck coming. Didn't think about it. Help me, Holy Ghost, because this all gonna connect. See, back in my mind, I knew that I was supposed to do it, but I didn't remember that I didn't do it until I heard the truck coming. And when I heard the truck coming, I had to hustle, because they don't take a lot of time. You know, it's just gone, next house. So you should see me. I'm breaking my neck. I got one house shoe on, and I'm getting out. because I needed to get rid of the trash. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that acts of unconditional love on a continuous basis is so difficult for people? You know, you got to ask yourself, I'm supposed to love people all the time, unconditionally. Is there, but you know what? Most people, if they're honest, they'd have to say, you know what, Pastor Gary, I gotta say that I'm not doing that. Yeah. So the question is there a flaw in the whole concept of love? Is it that love is not as powerful as it has been proclaimed to be? Is it really and truly possible to give love totally and unconditionally? Is it? We got biological siblings raised in a loving and caring home can find themselves estranged and alienated from one another. Grew up in the same house. Husbands and wives that have promised to love and cherish each other for life find themselves deposited in divorce court. Friends that have gone through thick and thin together can sometimes turn into arch enemies. Why is it so hard for love to stay in its place, to stay in place? Well, number one, I believe that some people have a misconception as to what love is. I know you're probably saying, now how does love and the trash man work? Just come along. So number one, I believe that some people have a misconception as to what love is. And number two, many people have allowed their hearts to become so cluttered that love can't find a space. The misconception for the believer seems to stem from the idea that we have the option to select who we will love and how we will love them. It's evident throughout Christendom that the concept of loving all people at all times is a struggle at best. In the book of the prophet Amos, chapter 5, verse 15, he says, hate evil and love good. But the incorrect interpretation of this verse is to believe that we have the freedoms to hate people that do evil. But what the text is really suggesting is that when one hates evil, they will choose to do good, not that they will hate evil people. If you hate evil, you will choose to do good. Romans chapter 13 and verse number 9 supports this idea in that it proclaims that we are to love our neighbors as ourselves. Then Paul, he goes on to say, love is a more excellent way. He says in 1 Corinthians 12 and 13, we are to be rooted and grounded in love, according to Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 17. We are to speak the truth in love. The fruits of the Spirit is love. Hebrews 13 and 1 tells us to let love continue. Our focus this morning is not to deal on the misconceptions of love, but on the conditions of the heart that can prohibit a space for love to take up residence. Let's face it, the heart is only so big, and you can only accommodate so much. Got a little help. Take the trash out. You ain't lost, is you, Jimmy? Okay, here we go. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, just lean it over. Just lean it on the chair. Lean it on Karen's chair, though. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And how is it that in a church, the pastor of the church would dump trash on the pulpit platform? It's disgusting. I did it because I want you to see what it looks like when we clutter our lives. When we allow the enemy to deposit into who we are, the trash of life. God help me, Holy Ghost, preach for me. For many who find it difficult to love on an unconditional and continuous basis, there must be an urgent call for personal heart inventory to see if there's no room for love, and they might just need to take out the trash. Don't worry, I'm gonna clean it up, because it's my trash. Nobody can clean this up. It's my trash. I'm responsible for my own trash. My neighbor don't come to my side of my garage and take my trash out and put it on the curb, because it's not his trash. It's my trash. In John's account of Jesus's assault on the temple, we find that Jesus had just left Cana of Galilee, where he performed his first miracle by turning water into wine. The Jewish Passover is at hand, so he goes up, as is tradition. He goes up to Jerusalem. It was in the text, we read it. And there he finds a sight that caused his only recorded physical outburst. Jesus saw what Jesus didn't like. Most of the time, when he has different interactions with people, there may be a parable that he will use. There's just some very mild teaching, and he had a wonderful power of question, and people would have to answer the question. But in this particular case, he got physical. Yes, he did. He got physical. See, understand that it was necessary for Jews to make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem to commemorate their deliverance from death and bondage in Egypt. It was also necessary for the pilgrims to offer the appropriate sacrifices and gifts in the temple. The sales of doves and animals was permitted in the courtyard of the temple, but the sellers and money changers turned what was once sacred into a racket. Not only were they ripping off the people, they were doing it inside the temple. And in Matthew's account, in Matthew 21 and 12, it says that Jesus went into the temple and drove them out. But in the text that we used this morning, we find that Jesus made a whip of cords and then drove them out. We got to go there again for a minute. Anybody in here ever got a switch whooping? And sometimes they would get 3 and braid them. You know, it was bad enough knowing you was going to get it, but have to sit there and wait for it until they get finished making that whip. I have found out that if you're going to know the love of God, you're going to understand, and you're probably going to know the wrath of God too. They were permitted for this craziness to go on out, but it wasn't craziness, but this sacred event to go on outside in the courtyard of the temple. But these they brought in all kind of, and the doves and the sacrifices were supposed to be pure, unspotted, no defects. And so some theologians believe that they were doing things to cover up the spots and cover up any inconsistencies, and they were selling them probably at a high rate. Right there, that's like you having a swap meet right here at the altar. They were making their money. There's a lot of foolishness in the church. Jesus, if you want to know what's supposed to go on in the church, Jesus made it plain. He says, my Father's house shall be called the house of prayer. People come in the church with and want to say, well, what happened at church? Well, nothing. What did you bring? Nothing. So what did you get? He said, no, when you come into to my house, you got to come in here praying. Do you know that people come to church to fight sometimes? Just looking for a fight. Looking for some trouble, waiting for you to roll your eyes, waiting for you not to say something to them. You're just as bad as the money changers. Jesus was serious about the temple. Can't come in here just acting any old kind of way. There should be some reverence. Some humility. Jesus, Moses, during this time in his meeting with God in the burning of the bush, God told him, no, you take off your shoes, for the ground that you're standing on is holy ground. Jesus got mad when he saw what was going on in the temple and drove him out. Notice that Jesus doesn't ask any questions. He doesn't ask to speak to the person in charge. He just deals with the issue. And as I've told you before, you got to be real careful how much stuff you keeping in that you know ain't supposed to be in there, because he will deal with you eventually. Folks think they're getting away. You ain't getting away. Sooner or later, God's going to deal with disobedience. Did you hear what I said? Look at somebody and say, God gonna deal with you. God gonna deal with you. And now just look back at him and say, he gonna deal with me too. He gonna deal with me too. John the Revelator makes it very clear. He says, Jesus is speaking, he says, the day that you hear my voice, harden not your heart. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. And if any man will open, I'll come in. I'll come in even though I know there's trash in there. If you just let me in, I'll come in the middle of your trash. Jesus recognized that there was trash in his house. He not only drives out the transgressors, but the tools of their trade, the animals and the doves, and then he turns over the tables, indicating that they're not coming back. There was no love in the temple because evil had taken up all the room. The heart of man was designed to be occupied by the loving power of God, but evil, for many folks, has taken up all the room. Lust is where contentment is supposed to be. Greed is where gratitude is supposed to be. Inconsistency is where consistency is supposed to be. Hatred is where love is supposed to be. There's nothing quite as trifling as a trashy house. I don't know what your house looked like. It's none of my business. But I'm going to say it from the pulpit again. There ain't nothing more trifling than a trashy house. I got issues when it comes to that. This right here right now is driving me nuts. But I want to leave it out there so it just keeps driving me nuts, and I hope it's bothering somebody out there. Why don't he clean it up? No, look at it. I want you to take a visual. Where them phones at? Somebody need to be taking some phone pictures. You ain't taking none of this. I see phones all the time. People just up here just like this. Just film that. There you go. Yes, put that on YouTube. And then tell somebody that you better take your trash out. Now, people have different levels of acceptance. I remember, y'all remember Mr. Milton? How can we forget Melvin? What a champion. But Melvin had his own level of clean. It's clean to him. And he would do the communion trays. And I remember Miss Francis used to get on him. Melvin, you need to go in there and wash your hands. Your hands, you wash your hands. Your hands, because you know she can talk. She can tell you now. She said, you need to go in there and wash your hands again. You need to wash your hands. Your hands ain't clean enough for me. You need to go back in there and wash your hands. Can she talk? When she start talking, you better pay attention because you're gonna miss something. So one day I was talking with her in the chapel, and I said, Miss Francis, because it was hurting his feelings, and she was trying to, but she was being nice. I said, Miss Francis, I said, his hands is as clean as he believed they need to be. That's his level of clean hands. Them hands, you know them hands ain't clean. But people have different levels of what they consider is clean. But if you want to know a good book to read when it comes to what needs to be in your heart, a good book to read is the Bible. And it can tell you what does not need to be in there, because if there is trash in there, then something else is being kept out that needs to be. I'm going to be finished here in a minute. See, check this out. Trash is interesting in that it represents something that was used, but then lost its usefulness. Trash, hear this now, is actually a historical record of what came into your house. It's a historical record. Some folk right now saying, I don't want nobody going through my trash. Because I don't want them to see my historical record of what came in to my house. See, trash will stay around as long as you let it. And listen, it will never become more than just trash. That will always be trash. It has been said that one man's trash is another man's treasure. But I say this morning that even trash that becomes treasure will one day be trash once more. People treat trash in the home in interesting ways. Some act as though it's not even there. That we're talking about the heart now. Some things are in our heart. We just act like it's not even there, but it's there. Some just straighten up their trash. Now, it's just a neat pile of trash. Some straighten it up. Others keep it in one room. Or they'll stack it in the garage. I ain't seen your garage. I don't know what's in your garage. But I bet if you went out there and spent some time in it, you'll say, you know what, this ain't nothing but trash. There are some things that are in our hearts that we're trying to act like it's not there. And wonder why we don't have the kind of love that we're supposed to have. How come I can't get over her and forgive her? How come I can't forgive that brother? How come I can't get along? How come if I hate my wife or hate my husband? Why is it? Because there is some trash that's taken up space. Some folk don't like it but won't do anything about it. These are the folk that are experts in making excuse during the surprise visits of their friends. People come over, oh, girl, why didn't you tell me you was coming by? Oh, and then you start closing doors. You got that one room that you got to go close the door. Anybody got a room like? No, don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. You got to close it. Or the pastor come by. Am I telling the truth? We know how to do it when it comes to the physical, but when it comes to the heart, I'm almost done. Because I got to clean that up. The real danger regarding trash is the more you are around it, the more comfortable you become with it. And the more you begin to look like it. You got to get some stuff out of your heart. It's got to come out. It can't stay in there no longer. You're too old to have it in there. It's time to get it out. Get yourself a whip or a brick or something and get it out. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I've been stubborn too long. I've been complaintive too long. I've been over-opinionating too long. I've been too demanding too long. I got to get rid of this. Again, I say I'm too old for it. And if I keep this stuff around, I'm going to start getting used to it. I'm going to start acting like trash. My thinking will be trashy. My plans will be trashy. And I'll become judgmental. Now everybody I look at is trashy. Because I'm who I am. I'm the king. I'm on the top of the trash heap. Think about it. Look at yourself. These money changers, they were just doing what they did. We just up in here. It was the wrong place for them. And listen, my friend, I have to check. Reggie has to check himself. And say, wait a minute. Why did you react that way? If you know it wasn't godly, why did you react that way? I reacted that way because I got something in there that's not supposed to be. The good news is there are those that deal with their trash. They recognize that it's useless. They recognize it's in the way of what's useful. See, listen, once Jesus had thrown out the trash in Matthew 21 and 14, once he had cleansed the temple, it says that the blind came in and the lame came in and they were healed of their infirmities. See, as long as there was trash in the temple, the presence and the healing power of God was not evident. But I'll tell you something. You get rid of some stuff out of your life and see what the next steps God will take on your life. Somebody here this morning might be pretending that trash is not there. Another might just be trying to straighten up their trash. Someone else might be still moving it from one room to another. Another is tired of making excuses. But today is the day to take out the trash and make room for love. You'll be happy you did. I don't know what day the trash man come to your house, but I came here today to tell you that today is trash day. Don't fail to put your trash out. When the trash man leaves, you'll feel better. Your friends will ask you what happened to you. Just tell them you put the trash out. You got new joy because I put the trash out. There's new hope because I put the trash out. I got patience again because I put the trash out. I can forgive those who used me and beat me down because I took the trash out. I got new commitment. I can make it through because I put the trash out. I got courage to stand the test because I put the trash out. I got power and vision because I put the trash out. So come on into my house because I've got rid of the trash. Come on, put me in a key I can work with, Noah, because I feel like I just want to go Baptist for a moment. It might be time for me to reach back and get some Roy Gary, because he had a way of singing his message to a close. And I double dog dare somebody to recognize this as your trash day. It's time for you to get a glad bag. Somebody else might use a big old leaf bag. But whatever kind of bag you need, it's time for you to put the trash in the bag and get yourself a good twist tie. Don't worry about what's in the bag. You don't have to go in there anymore. Tie it real tight and get it out of your house before it starts stinking, because trash will stink if you leave it around too long. And when the trash man comes, you'll say, there goes my trash. Get it off my street. Get it out of my neighborhood. I can't use it no more. I'm done with that. And I'm so glad that when I go back in the kitchen, I look in the trash can, and the trash can is empty, but it's there for the next load of trash, because you're always going to have to deal with some trash. And I'm glad to report today that one day, Jesus, the lily of the valley, one day Jesus, the bright and morning star, one day Jesus, the fairest of 10,000, came into my heart and said, what a mess we have here. You got some hatred here. Throw it away. You got some envy in there. Get rid of it. You don't want to recycle it. It's trash. It's trash. It's trash. I don't need it. It's trash. I don't want it. It's trash. It's in my way. It's